Oh, man. I will never forgive your ass for this shit. This is some fucked up, repugnant shit.
You're listening to The Mean Geek, comics podcasting on the very ragged, raw, leading edge of friggin' civility.
Alright, so I guess we're here at number 40, which, God, did you expect,
I've been waiting for you to hit 40 for some time ago.
Yeah, getting close to 40, yeah, alright, I get it, yeah, it's fine.
No, the fact that you've managed to maintain interest in something for this long is sort of mind-boggling. The fact that you've managed to keep me along for this long is more mind-boggling. So, no, I did not anticipate 40 episodes.
I am not that fickle about my interests.
Not when they're in video games, no.
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, I do have 2 80s in WoW, but and I'm well on my way. I'm 39,000 on my zombie genocidist achievement.
You are a terrifying human being.
Played a little just today.
Ah.
I was quite happy. He's like, ooh, zombie, bing, bang, pong.
You still on one then?
Oh, I'm doing both. But I want that achievement. I want to be able to say I wiped out an entire mid-sized town of zombies.
Yeah, that's a goal for all, really.
Hey, zombies are the big thing. They're currently huge. Zombies are fun to kill. There's only a couple of things in a video game you don't feel any remorse about killing at all.
Aliens, zombies, and Nazis.
That's absolutely right. You got the list down. And how do you take care of all said enemies?
Blow their friggin' heads off.
Shotgun, chainsaw, and sweet cleansing fire.
Ah.
If you can't get through with those 3, you are fucked to begin with. So we're going to go back to a pile.
Damn the homework episodes.
You hate the homework episodes, but I don't mind them at all because we don't get deep. We're not overanalyzing it like a lot of other podcasts do. We're not going to do this whole panel by panel horse shit. It's a yes or a no. It's a good or a bad. It's a quick explanation, and we're done. We're happy with it.
There you go.
Everybody understands what we're dealing with in the comic world. They see where we're coming from in the comic world. And it's generally an okay thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, having established that, Incredible Hercules 139 and 140. You ready for this storyline to be done yet?
Here's the thing. Sometimes in life, you start something in exactly the right moment.
Yeah.
I bought, and you know this because it pisses you off, the first issue of Preacher on a whim because it had a neat cover. Mm-hmm. And back when I would experiment with Vertigo stuff, just 'cause it had the word Vertigo on the title.
Right.
I have every issue of Transmet because I happened to pick that up at the right point.
Right.
It wasn't that I was a huge Warren Ellis fan at that point. It wasn't that I was a huge Garth Ennis fan at that point.
Right.
I tried things out, really enjoyed them, stuck with them. Other things you pick up at a bad point. Sometimes you go back and you check something out. Thanks to our friend Walsh, I read the very first New Avengers, which we would not have touched without that.
Probably not.
Ended up going hugely into the Avengers from that point forward. But I picked up the Avengers several times in my life and not had a good time. Reading this book, I feel like I caught it after it was awesome. Because some of the older issues you picked up, I very much enjoyed.
Yes, they were a lot of fun.
The Invasion of Olympus storyline, not so much fun.
Totally ready for it to
Convoluted be over. And annoying and confusing. Now, to be fair, it's the end of a storyline, and a major one, so a lot of this stuff is going to be convoluted and confusing because somebody hasn't read all of it. But it's not fun.
No, not this mini-series within a series. This isn't fun at all. They're trying to go for the straight adventure, and it's just kind of like, meh.
I don't hate the book, but I don't feel like I'm getting the Hercules that I was hearing about, the ones that I read in the older issues where it was a lot more enjoyable than this.
Right. And god damn does that guy with the eyes all over his body creep me the fuck out.
Look, man, no one knows about your third eye. There's no reason for you to feel threatened.
I don't feel inadequate compared to this guy, okay?
I just think that
I
when
just
you
feel
see
creeped the fuck out.
You start worrying you're going to start growing that fourth eye, and then things will be out of hand.
Man, you get so weird sometimes.
You and your shoulder eye.
Shoulder... I don't have a... What? Stop that right now.
Right, it's okay.
I had no need for the captain. Why is a Gorgon looking at the 8th smartest man in the world and he's not turning the stone?
She loves him.
Oh, so that's the key factor.
And then she turns Athena to stones so that she can turn human, so they can have non-Gorgon 8th smartest man sex. It's
Fred,
a convoluted storyline.
Greg.
It's very odd. It is not a great time right now.
Nah, if they can just turn it around when all this is over and go back to the fun.
I wouldn't dump it. I'll say that.
Not
right
just
now.
yet.
But
No, we'll see if we can get back to the regular fun when this line's over.
this is what happens when you start a book that runs as a humor book and then tries to shift tone. This is what used to happen. This is why She-Hulk always falls apart.
Right. Because they start off really funny, whether it's Peter David or Greg Pak or Dan Slott or whoever it was, and then they get earnest.
John Byrne.
The prototypical start off
Starts
as a
get them
humor.
involved in somewhere else. Humor books really have to live outside of the overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Did you fall asleep reading Brave and Bold 30?
No, I've always had a soft spot for Dr. Fate. Mostly because it reminds me of Professor Fate from The Great Race back in the day, and I always liked that movie. Anytime you see Dr. Fate, just assume that someone is going to talk your ear off. It's sentimental. I like the fact that Green Lantern and he had a moment. That's what all those storylines were back in the day, and
people had an occasional adventure together. They got to know each other, and then they established, a continuity that they kept with each other for years.
And I thought, particularly for somebody like Straczynski, who I'm not familiar with how much he knows about comics and whatnot. He's written some things that I found intriguing, but I don't know his knowledge history. He wrote Dr. Fate like you would expect. Dr. Fate's a guy who always steps up no matter how screwed he is.
Right.
And he never focuses on how screwed he is.
Right, which is mentioned by the ant fable that he replays in this.
Yep.
I just do what I can.
Yeah. But, every day, Dr. Fate, every time something goes bad for Dr. Fate, he's always the guy who's like, well, that's what I do. So, no, I didn't have a problem with this issue. I didn't think it was a...
standout?
As single issues go, it's very dry.
Straczynski's trying very hard to bring either obscure or underutilized characters to the fore in this. For the most part.
There's two schools of thought when you jump into Marvel or DC. Like, either you can go with something three schools, let me be fair. You can either go with something brand new and play with it.
Right.
Create your own thing and bring it to the table.
Uh-huh.
Or, school B, you take something really popular that you've always wanted to use and work with that.
Correct.
Hence, new people on, like, Batman.
Right.
Or C, you play with the toys that nobody else likes that you've missed. Like bringing back Brother Power the Geek.
Or Dial H for Hero. So 31. More Straczynski.
Yeah.
The Atom and the Joker.
Well, see, now you have him playing with characters that aren't, although the Atom, depending on when he wrote this, wasn't really cry for justice in this.
No, he's neither obscure nor underutilized at this point.
But when this was written, who knows? Was cry for justice, because these are very separate, and they're separate Atoms.
Right.
But that's always been one of the issues. The Atom is a very hard character to write. His personality is not definitive the way so many other characters are.
Yeah, he's very mutable.
Because he doesn't have a strong... you go back to the old school Atoms, like, this is the Atom I remember. He's tiny and he punched something. That's the Atom I remember.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
He traveled in the phone. But here's the thing. Between these two issues,
Yeah.
You know that Straczynski knows his history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He really does.
Oh, yeah. JMS got it down on that score.
And he writes an Adam that feels like Adams I've read before. Not the only Adam I've read before, because that is a character who has a wide variety of personalities.
Yes.
But it is definitely an Adam I'm familiar with. You know, most superheroes won't discuss, let the Joker die. Oh, I could kill him and still have tried to do the right thing? Well, then I'm in.
That was actually a pretty good little moral dilemma right there.
Yeah, and done in like a page.
Yeah.
So I totally enjoyed that issue.
So it was nice and tightly plotted. He did get it over with.
Let's face it, it felt like the old Raquel Welch movie where they're flying through the brain.
Fantastic Voyage.
I knew you'd know.
Based on an Isaac Asimov's novelette.
But no, well, I always am happy to read Straczynski's Brave and the Bold. I'm not always looking forward to it. And occasionally I'm like, son of a bitch, really? When Skull the Slayer appears on that, you know.
You want to take bets on who he whips out next? Because I don't look at previews, so I don't know what's going on 3 months ahead.
All right, so the next issue of Brave and Bold.
Did they mention? They might have mentioned it in the back, so that wouldn't be... You want to take bets on where he goes to begin with?
I think he has to hit Green Arrow soon. If you're Brave and Bold without Green Arrow...
Yeah, he's got nothing here. There's no mention of what else might come. But yeah, it might be an interesting one to see what he does with Green Arrow. Right. Would he revisit Speedy and Crank, or would he... or Junk.
There you
Crank is mad.
Yes, there you go. I'm so sad that you know that. No, I'd like to see his take on a Green Arrow. I'd like to see him do a Black Arrow. I like that he's playing around in different fields and not trapping himself too much.
Right.
But you know what?
Because this could easily become a one hero team up book,
as it so often has in the past.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to do more than a single issue storyline either, for God's sake.
No, I kind of like a resurgence of done-in-ones.
You know, as we know, I'm a huge fan of the single issue story, but locking yourself in limits what you can tell also.
No, that's a given. And we see a bit of that formula over in Superman Batman, because a lot of those were one story, let's move on, and then almost as many are multiples from 2 to 6.
My major problem with Superman Batman is just what Loeb feels like doing that day. Is it World's Finest or is it Kingdom Come? Where is he going to go? What will it be, the deepest storyline ever, or some plot line that you have no comprehension of why this would be written?
Or, the oldest...
the Dust Mite War.
Yeah, the oldest rehash in the universe. Let's find another universe inside a tiny universe. Okay, put the fucking Maui Wowie down.
Yeah. What a shock. They're ending on them building a statue. No,
Nothing new. A little more to the left, boys. A little more to the left. Nothing new on that storyline.
All right.
So, the reboot of Armor Wars for now the 4th time.
Fourth.
There was Armor Wars, Armor Wars 2. They rewrote Armor Wars as a standalone series that I didn't bother picking up.
All right, so I'm not familiar with that.
And then now Ultimate Armor Wars. So, rushed conclusion? Hackneyed conclusion? Blah.
We are a spoiler podcast, so let's just start with the following phrase. Grampa Stark!
Yeah, I wasn't
the
happy
robo
with it.
douche.
It's just like, where did he come from? No one has ever cared about Tony Stark's. I do not ever remember. I have 500 issues of fucking Iron Man that I have at least poured over. I haven't thoroughly read them all, and I appreciate that very much because it makes it last that much longer. Thank you very much, Rev, for that Christmas present.
Oh, there you go.
I don't remember hearing anything about Tony Grandpa.
Horrible.
Ever, anywhere.
It's a last-ditch effort. This is to me, this is why the Ultimate Universe starts to get annoying after a while. Is don't crap on things that have already been done just to redo them.
Sure.
Armor War, there was very little in the story. It started off a little intriguing. I love Armor Wars. I was excited. And then the last two really, really broke my heart, quite honestly.
Yeah, I had no interest in this. I mean, they could have done a whole lot more with Justine. She could have had a real change in development of character.
I was intrigued by that character.
And they went for the easy, oh, well, she was a plant the whole time.
Yeah, that's a new one. Well, let's follow it up with and kids, I'm not even going to explain, but the whole storyline hinges on opening a box that contains Tony Stark's head from an alternate dimension with a sentient armor that still works. Really?
That you couldn't have gotten a more obvious Deus Ex Machina.
You know what? That's quite possibly the least obvious. The last thing I expected was a zombie head.
No, in the details of it are definitely unique and but there was no doubt that that was in fact an Ex Machina right there. Oh, well, we're stuck for an ending, so fuck it, put a zombie head in there.
Yeah, that really broke my... Armor Wars 1, I really enjoyed, and I love Armor Wars 2, and I've defended that, as you know, tons of times to people. Like, you want to try something? Try Armor Wars 2. Yeah, okay, Bill. No, it's awesome. Fuck you. Don't make fun of JRJR. I'm sensitive.
I'm sensitive.
That better not be the title.
Well, don't fuck with me. It totally is. That's episode 40's title.
But yeah,
I'm wearing myself out on this Ultimate stuff. I missed the boat the first time because I wasn't buying any comics whatsoever when the rest of the Ultimates came out. We totally missed the boat on Ultimate Spider-Man,
which was phenomenal.
We were worried about after the first trade, but then turned into like, holy crap, that's awesome. And then now it's just, I'm like, I don't give a shit.
I'm just buying I'm like Ultimate Enemy, which I assume is in that pile.
Yes, it is. It's the very next one.
What? Reed and Sue have broken up. The Thing's hitting on Sue.
Now,
the Human Torch is living in Spidey house.
Yeah, well, Aunt May's boarding house for wayward superheroes.
And then there's the Cloverfield monster is apparently showing up and kicking the crap out of everybody. Honestly, no.
I'm not getting number 2 of this damn thing.
I enjoyed Ultimate Fantastic Four immensely when it began. I enjoyed Ultimate Spider-Man. I have no time for new Ultimate Spider-Man. I believe I read Ultimate X, which I didn't understand the damn word of.
Yes, that was the very next one. Why do we need another Wolverine kid?
Now,
at least Kitty seemed like Kitty.
No, this was not badly. I mean, you've got Art Adams' art. You've got decent writing. My problem is I don't care. I've never read an Ultimate X-Men. I don't read the current X-Men. I'm sick of Wolverine. Although I did enjoy that he was described as horny, because God knows he's proven that time and time again.
Oh, no, Logan was definitely a horn dog.
The fact of the matter is that, and it does the things that I hate right off the bat. You've got a book starting with a whole team on the cover, none of whom are in the issue.
Uh-huh.
That'll just drive you nuts.
There's not even any indication where the others might be. There's no mystery panel where, well, I guess that could be the Hulk.
The fact of the matter is I'm going to... I read what you bring me, but my take on this, honestly, is I'm going to finish out graphics of Ultimate Fantastic Four for a while, finish out Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe check Ultimatum after I've read those and see what happens.
Right.
But I'm no interest in continuing the universe I don't understand.
Nope.
And everything they're doing is creepy and weird.
Yes. The Hulk being a cannibal, a lot of people like the fact the Hulk's a cannibal. I got no interest in it.
Well, you know what? If he's going to be a cannibal, then I'm going to read Kirkwood.
Look who it is.
But you know what? I think Loeb is a great writer. I just don't understand where he's going lately.
He hasn't thrown it out of the park for me the last few...
based on the Hulk I'm curious. I'm going to go back and pick up some trades on the Red Hulk, see what that's all about. A lot of stuff he does intrigues me, and I'm curious. And I'm willing to try
Well, I mean, you've read up to 12 on Red Hulk, so you're only 6 months behind on that.
There you go. You know, I'll check some stuff out and see what I think. But I am not up enough on the Ultimate Universe. Now, the aspect that I will venture outside of that is Ultimate Avengers. With the Red Skull Captain America kid thing, I'm still curious enough to continue with that one.
No, I want to finish that one.
But the rest of the Ultimates,
I want to know how that one ends.
I would totally draw a line in at this point.
Yeah. No, there's a new Ultimate Spider-Man did come out this week. It's not in your homework.
There you go. But, yeah, I will definitely pick up more graphics, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Because the guys at the shop were telling me they have another young superhuman living in the boarding house.
Oh, dear fuck.
Yes.
Who now?
I didn't even ask. I'm like, do you know what? Now that you've told me that, stop speaking. I don't want
Ultimate
to know.
Kitty, I mean, Ultimate Colossus, Ultimate Bob, Supermax.
Yeah, and what the fuck? How does he randomly... What is he coating these claws with? He's supposed to be part Colossus now?
Who knows?
What, did Peter and Logan have a fucking threesome going on here?
Ew. I assume they'll explain that later on. I don't care. But I will say this. Art Adams' art is as good as it's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to continue the book just for that reason, I would understand it. I mean, if you
not entirely worth certain it's worth $4 a pop just for that.
But I am not. The Ultimate Universe and I are no longer friends, I guess. I don't understand it. I'm not happy. And
this preview here, Hellcat looking like fucking Tigra.
You know, that was the most intriguing to me, is what are they going to do with the Defenders? Because Ultimate Defenders never even occurred to me.
Yeah, that's and they're going to be the Ultimate New Avengers.
Ultimate Hellcat was not on my friggin' list.
Although the Black Knight does look kind of badass.
You know, I am definitely... You know, if you were to go to an issue just to find out what the Ultimate Defender Avengers were going to do, or Avenger Defender...
Yeah, whatever the fuck they are. Oh, no, the Defenders are coming up by themselves and screwing with the new Ultimate Avengers. But Hellstrom? Do I need an Ultimate Hellstrom?
Do you need a Hellstrom? But
Ultimate Power Man, I can only assume where they're going to go with Ultimate Power Man, because
you know, maybe they'll bring back the later Defenders, the ones that came after.
The ones that hung out with the Interloper. Talk about a fucking obscure character out of absolutely nowhere that nobody wants to talk about anymore.
Horrid. Absolutely horrid. All set with the Ultimate Defenders. And with the Ultimate Universe, basically.
Ugh, yeah. Ugh. Twee. We're so close to being done with Cry for Justice. We're so close, man.
I just don't... James Robinson started comics, to the best of my knowledge, or the first time I was familiar was with Firearm. All the way back then.
That was him?
Yep.
Holy crap.
Not a big fan, but that was a well-written book. He wrote Starman, which is one of my all-time favorite books. He's done a lot of... He did the Tim Sale Misfits storyline, Shadow of the Bat, which was one of my all-time favorite Shadow of the Bats. He's a great comic book writer, and he has done what he wanted to do in this storyline, which is take a villain that he felt, and correctly... felt had been misused since his original creation.
Right.
Grant Morrison created the villain. What's his name?
Prometheus.
There you go. Just want to make sure you knew.
What do you do?
What? I like to test it. Grant Morrison created in Prometheus a villain that he wanted to be, you know, a big time player.
Yeah.
And everybody who wrote him afterwards made him into a douchebag. And not
merely a douchebag, a complete fucking doofus on top of that.
The later appearances of Prometheus can be filed under Heckler comic books. You know, but that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, so despite a delay, we were talking about Prometheus.
But the other thing James Robinson promised at the beginning of the series was this was going to affect the entire
The
world.
entire JLA milieu.
Yeah, the DC universe.
Yeah.
And other than, we're destroying Star City now instead of...
There's been no movement on that thing. This has happened in like one afternoon so far.
But doesn't this feel like now it's Green Lantern, Green Arrow's turn instead of Green Lantern?
Yeah. Yep.
Star City instead of Coast City.
Right. It's all the same. And, are they going to leave any of these cities alone? Just leave the cities alone. They destroyed Coast City. Keystone City has been, under threat since 1962.
Well, it is named after a beer.
And it's a bad beer. Maybe that's the key.
Dude, if I had my own comic universe, I'd totally have Pap City.
Pap City.
That'd make me happy.
I'm sure it would. You
I wouldn't.
doofus.
Who would be the hero of Pap City, D?
The blue ribbon, man. Come on!
Dun, dun,
Did
dun.
we really have to try for that one?
Sadly, I hadn't even thought of that. I feel dumb. Now I do feel like a doofus for not realizing that. I would buy Blue Ribbon Comics. But yeah, Cry for Justice is
I think
not...
Charlton did have Blue Ribbon Comics.
Probably. They had everything else. The Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves.
So, you made all these promises, and aside from potentially destroying a city...
Which is just happening now.
We really haven't had delivery on these things.
Well, we'll see what happens. Red Arrow does seem to be missing an arm.
Well, lots of people are missing arms in the comic world. It doesn't mean that much.
But there are already 2 Green Arrows and a Speedy. How many Archers can...
We don't need that many
Archer
goddamn
Family
Archers.
Comics. Doesn't it feel like the old Superman families from the 60s?
Yeah. They just keep on adding people who do the same shit.
But let me ask you this. Is Green Arrow Black Canary still coming out, or is that comic done?
Whoa, cat, what are you doing, man? Don't take down the stereo.
Holy crap, the cat changed the channel.
Anyway, what was the question?
Is Green Arrow Black Canary still out there, or is that done with all the other things going on?
That's a really good question. I haven't seen it in the shop. I'm not entirely certain.
Because the whole aspect of those two's relationship seems to have died in all the current comic. Where Green Arrow is, she is not, and vice versa.
Okay. I had said it a half hour ago, but I'm saying it again. You're cut off.
Only on my third. Still an innocent bystander here. I have more than that before I start these podcasts, generally. Sadly, that's true. All right, but yeah, Cry for Justice, kind of a disappointment for me.
Yeah. I'm not... If it wasn't for... The schedule is bad.
Yeah.
What the hell took it so long?
Well, it is, the painted art has to be
Get
harder.
a few in the can so you have time for the rest.
And speaking of kick-ass...
That's not in the stack today, is it?
No.
No.
Right.
It's in a very soon stack.
What do we got next?
Fantastic Four, dealing with Hickman and Eaglesham, 574 and 575.
This is...
Dealing most particularly with Little Mutant Kids.
And Mole Kids. This is another example of catching a book after the hot streak to me.
Yes.
The older Fantastic Fours you read lent me, I really enjoyed.
Yes, they were really good.
Since the creative team change, I have not wholly endorsed this book.
And people were constantly telling me, actually, 74 is Edwards, but they went back to Eaglesham on 75. But I like Eaglesham. I'm not going to say he's a bad artist in any degree, but he's not tripping me the fuck out like people were, losing their minds on Justice Society.
Well, how exciting...
And that's a hell of a gear change, huh? Justice Society with all these old crone retiree motherfuckers running around. To
the Fantastic Four who've been around almost as long.
But somehow Reed still just has the little temple thing going on.
Now, let's be honest. At any point in your comic reading career where you're sitting there going, you know who they don't use enough? The High Evolutionary.
I was not expecting the High Evolutionary, and I still bear the scars of the Evolutionary War. So, I had no interest in reading.
84.
88.
I rapture in not knowing the date of the Evolutionary War. Was that before or after Atlantis attacks?
Oh, good question. It was before. Because Atlantis attacks, I seem to remember I was reading that when I was in Korea. And Evolutionary War was definitely still in high school.
Okay.
So, meh.
Yeah. The science. But yeah, no, the book isn't horrible, and I wouldn't totally cut it off, but I definitely enjoyed the previous run a lot more than this. And for me, Fantastic Four is always about the creative team, because it is not a book where the characters draw me unless I'm interested in the story. You know, like a Batman book I can get through. Fantastic Four, if I'm not really enjoying where they're going with it, I can't have anything to do with the book, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is leaning that way. And there's a lot of time travel.
Quit with the fucking time travel. Other dimensions, no problem. Negative zone, whatever. But after that, the time travel thing, I don't give a good goddamn.
Dude, the only time I've ever enjoyed Kang was in Toy Fair magazine, when they would use him.
Twisted Toy Fair Theater.
This is the only time I've ever felt that Kang was a necessary evil. When he ran over himself in the spider car from 1977. Yes, it is not a word of night.
You had no idea that I just caught you on that.
Yeah, thank you for hitting record again without telling me. My falsetto is now recorded for the ages. Raptor.
Future generations will carry my standard of douchebaggery.
Oh, Lord. What are we up to?
The finishing touches of Spider-Woman. What was that you were remarking previously about things getting too artsy for their own good?
You know, I actually had the last Spider-Woman is growing on me a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do think it's a book that I'll enjoy more in a graphic form than issue by issue. I think that it's a dense read, and part of the problem, I think, for me sometimes is that because of what you dump here in homework, I read so much in bulk that subtler things sometimes get lost. And it's a subtle book, but I did feel the last issue, kind of salvaged Spider-Woman for me a little bit. I'm more intrigued by it.
Well, there's one more coming, and it ends on a really interesting cliffhanger. Oh no, this is the one that ends in the cliffhanger. The one where she jumps out and forgets she can't fly.
Yep. Then she survives by crashing into stuff. That's comics 101 right there. Bang, zoom. It's right out of Tarzan. Hit a couple branches on the way down, you'll be okay.
Well, there's what are the flagpoles, canopies. She'll make it.
She hit them all. It's like the old school Arnold Schwarzenegger shoulder injury. Like, oh, you've hit me in the shoulder, but I can still lift and do anything I need with my enormous arm. Ridiculousness. But no, that book is definitely growing on me.
Curious. I would have thought you were pretty much done with it.
I was getting there, but, it's starting to pull things together and move forward. That's all I really ask, is good writing, solid art, and move. If nothing happens on a regular basis, I'm done. If too much happens, I'm done. It's got to work, and that's all I ask of anything. But it's starting to work for me. So yeah, I actually had a change of pace.
It is Bendis, so
I am biased towards Bendis.
Uncompressed storytelling is every last thing he's about.
But I definitely think, even though I'm saying the book is improved, if I were to buy the Spider-Woman graphic, I would enjoy it more than an issue-by-issue basis. Yeah. I would have hated Alias issue-by-issue. Really? The entire issue was her interviewing a dude and then going to the diner and talking about her feelings. Holy crap.
Now, you're still digging on Maleev, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is this weird green tint that she's got through both books?
It's her Hydra background showing.
Did Maleev,
Well, I never, ever blame color on an artist. I mean, you've got a colorist.
Well, I mean, if he directs...
But do they? I mean, do you even know? You know what I mean? Who knows?
Well, some of them do talk to
We know Frank Miller does.
Well, yeah.
This guy's yellow. Everything else is black or white. Yeah, I think I can handle that. But some people may not. Who knows? So, in terms of things like that, I always try to not say, Maleev, why did you color it this way? Because he didn't. Somebody else did.
Well, I mean, they will communicate between each other. What am I doing? I'm texting.
But how do you feel about the Spider-Woman in yet another secret organization? S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra, and now she's the Skrull hunting.
I really think they're overdoing it. And you know what? These two issues are slightly... It's such a stupid thing, but I noticed it while I was trying to organize this pile. They're like, this thing's a good 1/16 of an inch bigger than... 6 is bigger than 4. No, 4 is bigger than 5.
Okay, 6 is bigger than... Oh, 6 isn't here.
Well, I had them on top of each other.
Now, is this a miniseries or is this an ongoing?
I have seen nothing that says this is a mini.
All right. Spider-Woman is here to stay.
Could be. We'll find out.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. You can find us on iTunes, Podcast Alley, Facebook, Comic Space, our own site, www.themeangeek.com. Subscribe to us through RSS, and most importantly, find us as a proud member on the Comics Podcast Network. Contact us directly through email at themeanergeek@gmail.com.